Hello, I am Lucas Paquetá.
Massive!
I'm very happy to be here. Come on, you guys.
Massive!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Boleyn Lounge. I'm Jeff, and I'm joined this evening by Mick. He seems to be having a few technical difficulties, which is why we're a little bit late starting. So there's a bit of a delay. So I'll just allow for that when Mick cuts in, and just let us know in the live chat how that's working out for you. So thanks for everyone for your patience for the lack of content over the last few weeks. Although maybe it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. So we've had some pretty dire performances, and we're back this week, and we've got a smile on our face and something good to talk about. So with that in mind, I'm going to give a little pause and let Mick give us his thoughts on Sunday's game. Away you go, Mick.
Can you actually hear me now, Jeff? Yeah. 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 To be fair, I had to watch it on a phone in a restaurant because it's out at a family dinner. So, yeah, but I managed to squeeze it in behind the salt pots. No, look, we cut a long story short. I just think that I just think that the team selection was everything on Sunday. Anyone that involved in West Ham as a fan or otherwise, it was clear what the midfield was calling out for. We showed great determination after going 1-0 down to get back in the game, which we had the capacity to do because we had the players on the pitch to do that. And yeah, look, that midfield played against what is possibly the best midfield in the Premier League. The people say that three are as good as anyone in midfield as a three. So, yes, if he can hold on and get them players out more times than not, then we have a chance of not going down. Because before Sunday, I couldn't see anything but relegation. But yeah, we played well. I liked his subs as well. I just thought it was clever putting Soucek up front just to use his physical ability, and then bringing Walker Peters into the middle of the park for his tackling and his getting around. It was just it was just good management, and it's something that we've lacked for since Moisey left, really, and possibly even just before Moisey left, to be fair. So no, overall, you were quite happy to watch them play, and even if they had lost, you'd have thought or come away and said, well, you know what, that's a much better effort. But to go away to win it and come away with the 3 points, fantastic. And then I watched the highlights twice on Sunday on different bits of telly just to make sure it was real. But yeah, very just happy with the team selection. We have got good players, and we bought some good players. And Potsy was outstanding, got man of the match, and good luck to him. He's 22 now; he's not a kid anymore. But yeah, good luck to him. And he was supreme. Just the little things he did that make the difference. And Fernandes, all round, just a good show. And not because we won, but because it was a good show. There's always frailties there, but there is in any team. So good.
Yeah, we had some steel about us for a change.
Have you lost me again?
Yeah, you're back now, though. We had some steel about us for a change, Mick, and a bit of team spirit, I thought. And you were talking about the midfield, but what difference it made? We were close enough that Potts, Fernandes, Paqueta, they were all getting their little toes on things, pushing it away. We were picking up second balls. Something that we've had the likes of Irvin and Soucek in there. They're just not close enough to to get their little toe it away from someone else be there to pick up the bits and pieces. I thought there was a lot of that in the game. As you said, Potts was supreme, standout player for a young player coming in to play the way he did, and he was conducting business at times. So, future captain there, captain in the making, and the Tadibo Kilman switch seemed strange, but seemed to work oddly well. My slight sort of don't want to get too carried away with this just on the back of one performance. We sort of did that at Forest, had a really good performance, and it was a bit of a flash in the pan. And I don't think Forest were great on that day, although we were good away from home. And I think we were really good on Sunday. But I also think Newcastle were under par. I didn't know that Waltimada was on the pitch, and I'm impressed by that because I was really worried about him. I thought he was going to cause us havoc, but we contained Newcastle pretty well in the main. And like you said, show the character to come from a goal down, get back the penalty. That was down in front of us. I was watching that. I turned around to people in the stand around me. I said, "Oh well, no need for much VAR on that one. That's a stone wall." And one of the fellas in front of me said, "Oh, I'm not sure. I think he got a toe on it." And sure enough, he did. You see the replays. It's the right decision. And made a joke with a young fella and said, "To damn his good young eyes." So I clearly need to go back to Specsavers and get my prescription adjusted. But a really good team performance all round, and some shining lights. Wan-Bissaka I thought was superb. Potts stand out. What a game Paqueta had. And if we turn that out every week, we're going to pick up the points. Big game next week coming up against Burnley now, and I can't see that he's going to make any changes unless there's any injuries or suspensions. Give us a shout if you're back, Mick, because I'm not sure if you're frozen or not. Join in if you are, and I'm just going to address some of these comments and come and say hello to the guys into the chat. Leslie says, what most impressed about Potts was his calm and demanding a performance from his teammates. Brilliant. It raised everyone. Yeah, I totally agree, Leslie. He had a super game. What a shame he didn't pick up his goal, but Suchek's toe was offside. And talking about Suchek, a good contribution he made when he came on. And as ever, he was there to poke it over the line, do his helicopter celebration. Leslie says, have a good show. He's going to catch up after work. Okay, Leslie, thanks for dropping in. Good to see you, mate. And hope you don't work too hard. Ian Jenny says, good evening. And what a difference a win makes. Absolutely. We're all smiling. And he goes on to say, it's not rocket science, is it? Play a more dynamic midfield, put the right players in the right positions. What have our last couple of managers been thinking? Well, that's right. Yeah, as you said, Mick, it just seems like the right team, doesn't it? And it's not only what are other managers thinking. I mean, what was he thinking previously? And you look at Potts, what a supreme performance it was, and you just wonder how he hasn't featured more. Obsidian Curse is in. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. And Colin's in. He says good evening to everyone. He says, great result. Was happy, but need to do it against Burnley. Great performance. Did you notice he switched the centre-backs around? Yeah, I did, but it seemed to work. Ian says he's been critical of Fernandes, but thought he was superb, as were Pack and Potts, of course. Yeah, I thought the whole midfield worked brilliantly together. They all had great performances individually, I think, and collectively. And Ian says he agrees with Colin that the Burnley game is perhaps even more important now. Yeah, I mean, you've got to follow that. It's a great win against a good side. I think they were a little bit off collar on the day, Newcastle. But I don't want to take away from our performance because I think we were actually good on the day as well. it was as good as I've seen us play for a good long while now. But we've got to back that up now with a win against Burnley. And, I won't say we're back on course.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Jeff, or not? Because I'm
Yeah, I
struggling
can
with
now.
you.
Yeah, I can hear you now, mate. Yeah, I won't say we're back on course because we're clearly right bang in the middle of a relegation battle, but we're kind of not far off that point a game that you're going to need to stay up. So tough run of fixtures coming up after that, though. So yeah, really need to get the 3 points against Burnley. Are you with us, Mick? Yeah.
I don't know. Can you hear me? Because I'm struggling to hear you. I'm struggling to hear you, buddy.
You're all right, but you're breaking up a little bit, Mick. I'm not sure how good your connection is. Let us know in the chat if we're both clear or if it's just Mick or me as well. Obsidian says, if Nuno can get Kilman and Todibo to look like their price tags, he's one hell of a manager. Yeah, and one swallow doesn't make a summer and all that. They were good. I thought they were going to get tested a bit more than they did, or maybe they just coped with everything really well. Let's see going forward. But I don't know. They both had good games on Sunday. Brendan's in. Good evening, Brendan. He says good evening to Mick in the chat. Pierre Tom's joined us. He says good
£80
evening.
million worth of mate.
Yeah, you're breaking up, Mick. Pierre Tom's in. He says evening all.
I think it's my computer. Jeff.
Okay, mate. I think Mick's dropping out. So, Pierre Tom, sorry, mate. He says, evening all. Even if we get relegated, I'm happy to see performances like that, win, lose or draw. Yeah, absolutely. People around the ground with me, Pierre, we were saying if they do that every week, we'll be happy. And Ian's just confirming that Mick's in and out. I think he may have left. And Colin's saying good evening to everyone in the chat. Okay, guys, it looks like I'm going to be on my own for the rest of the evening, just with you guys in the chat. So please put your contributions in there. Let us know what you do want to chat about regards Sunday, or even looking forwards to the game at the weekend. Yeah, it's a little bit like that, Obsidian. We were having a few problems before coming on air, and was hoping it would straighten itself out, but I think Mick's having problems with his internet at his end, or maybe the spirits are interfering. Ian says, I actually enjoyed the second half too. Backs against the wall, but we seem much more solid. I felt quite comfortable. Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed the whole game, if I'm honest. I think we had something like 9 shots on target. Some of them were a little bit tame, but Pope had to make a couple of really good saves as well. And you're right, we saw the game out really well. And I was a little bit concerned when he made the changes as early as he did. I know Wilson was sort of puffing out, but I thought, oh, he's trying to close up shop a bit early here. Is it too early? But it actually worked really well for us. And if we take into account that it's only just not a penalty, and Bowen's so close to scoring before Newcastle do. Souček is a toe offside to deny Freddie Potts his first goal for the club. You look at the chances, real goal-scoring chances, stuff to get you up off your seat and make some noise about. It was really enjoyable, really enjoyable, and I hope we get much of the same against Burnley. The March is before Burnley, so I'm sure those that attend that are going to be all rabble-roused and ready for the game. And we need to be lively. But if the team continue to perform like that, it's going to get the fans going inside. Just one question I'd like to ask you guys in the chat. I don't know if it was covered on television or live coverage or not, but was there much mention of the sit-in, and if the footage um, was shown, what did it look like? Did it look like there were many there or not too many there? So I was there, and I had my impression. I was in the corner of the Billy Bonds, and it was a little sparser in there than the Bobby Moore, I would say. But I'd be interested um, to see what it looked like on TV. Kira's in. Good evening, Kira. Says Tommy and Danny say hi from Luton. Hi, Tommy. Hope you're training well tonight, mate. Hi, Danny. Hope you're well, buddy. Obsidian says, in Nuno's defence, we didn't totally shut up shop. He still let them attack when the time was right. It wasn't a total Moyes job. No, you're right. We did continue to go on and make chances. You're right. It wasn't a complete shut up shop, but it looked that way when you bring on Suchek, KWP, and end up with Igor on the pitch as well. But I agree. We continued to go on and make chances. We look threatening. We look like we might get hard to beat if we continue in that style, and we desperately need that. It's what's been missing so much. Kira's waiting for a shout out. You've got it now. Mick's just rejoined us in the studio, so hopefully he's fixed his issues. Ian's asking, did I take part in the sit-in, and how do you feel that went? Let's just bring Mick back in and see if his sounds a bit better. How are you doing, Mick? Are you better connected now? I'm not sure if he is. I'll answer Ian's question in the meantime. I did take part in the sit-in, Ian, and I felt that, in my opinion, I think it could have gone better. I think it could have been better attended. As I say, at the Bobby Moore end, it did look like there was a few more people at that end of the ground than in our corner. But there were plenty of people streaming out of the ground. I felt it could have gone better. But I think my opinion always was that a sit-in was always going to be quite a hard thing to get people to do. So fair play to those that stayed, but I'm not sure it was as big a statement as we might have hoped it might have been. Ian says his view is that it didn't really work. The cameras, of course, didn't show much of it. I'm not sure it is a visual enough form of protest. Yeah, and I tend to agree with you, Ian. I had my doubts about it, but I took part, and I agree. I think the march will be much more effective next week. It's probably much more attractive thing for people to do as well, I suggest. So hopefully good numbers turn out for that. It's all peaceful, goes off well like the initial protest did, and we go on for another great performance from us and 3 points against Burnley. Night, Kira. Thanks for dropping in, hon. Pierre says, as Carrot and Blues Nick says, you have to maintain a threat going forward. Yeah, that's absolutely true, and we did that. Colin says, Jeff, I hope there was a good turnout for the march for Burnley. I would hope for 25,000 plus. Sorry, Colin, your comments just scrolled up on the screen to show Sullivan. Otherwise, it will be worthless. I don't know. I think 25,000 plus might be a bit ambitious, Colin. I think I've heard Hammers United say they'd like 15,000 plus, and they hope to do that or more. Let's hope you're right. Let's hope there is 25,000 plus. It would be a real statement if we get sort of numbers like that. And I think it will be much more visual see 20,000, 20 plus thousand West Ham fans marching, making a statement. Yeah, I do think that the sit-in was a bit of a damp squib, really, in my opinion. Obsidian says, I think for a sit-in it was disappointing. I mean, they literally didn't have to do anything, just stay behind, which is a beneficial with those poxy stop-go signs. Yeah, you're absolutely right. People did stay till 90 minutes for a change, but I guess when you're winning at home and you don't do that very often, that's quite a big incentive. Anyway, enough about the protests, I guess, for the sit-in perspective. From those of you in the chat that are joining in, you seem to think it was a bit disappointing. I tend to agree from my perspective. I thought it was a little bit disappointing. If you're watching this show back and you want to get involved in the comments, put that in the comments. Give us your views, whether you think it was a good success or if you thought yourselves it was disappointing. I'd love to hear anyone's views either way. Obsidian saying on the march, even 10k will look impressive. That's a lot of bodies. Yeah, I totally agree. If you get 10,000 plus, that's a lot of people. It's a big visual effect. And we've been getting some coverage on the protests, some traction in the media, in the printed press. So if you get those kind of figures turning out for the march, I think for sure you're going to see coverage in the wider media. Like Talksport won't be able to help but talk about it. So hopefully, and I fully expect a bigger turnout against Burnley, if I'm honest. But I tell you what, I'm going to wait for it to turn up at the Carpenters this week and make sure I get a pint or two before I go. So I can tag on from there. Now, looking forward to the Burnley game. Just let me know in the comments and those that in the chat what you think the team's likely to be. I would imagine it's going to be unchanged. I'm sure most of you would like to see it unchanged. Do you think the Wilson starting and Souček coming on at whatever stage in the role that he did against Newcastle is the answer for now? Would you like to see Callum Marshall perhaps come on in certain games? I guess it depends on the circumstances. So let me know what your thoughts are. I think he did quite well. We've got quite a young team there. If you look at it with Juff, Potts, Fernandez. Yeah, it's moving in the right direction. Ian says, we all know this, of course, but a good striker in January is vital. I'm excited to see what a Nuno team could do with the right man up front now. I totally agree. Striker is vital. I heard somewhere today another link to Ivan Toney again in January for a loan. I don't really know if that's realistic or not, but I'd suggest that's exactly the sort of striker that we need. If we had a guy like that leading our front line, we could actually be quite potent. Ian says he thinks that Wilson starting is the right thing to do, but he doesn't have 90 minutes in him. And that's absolutely right. There's no way Wilson can operate for 90 minutes. It's not only that. I think we have to think beyond the 60 minutes and ask ourselves, how many 60 minutes can he do before he's not available? And if he's not available, Fulkrug's not fit. We're really in a bind because I'm not sure I want to see Souček starting in that role. So we might find ourselves back to the Paquetá false nine kind of scenario. And I think that just takes something away from us. I think what a difference you see with Wilson being a proper number 9. He kept them busy, didn't he? He kept them occupied in a way that Bowen, Paquetá, Souček, anyone else we've tried up there just doesn't do. So he's a vital cog. And he's not enough really, because I don't think we can rely on him to start every week, even for an hour. Pierre says, I fear the Burnley game as a hammer since '64. I'm used to us losing to lesser teams that battle for everything. And this is the thing. We really have to follow the Newcastle victory up. Now, it was completely unexpected from my perspective. After the Leeds and Brentford performances, I was looking at this fixture with absolute trepidation. I feared that Walter Marday was absolutely tear us a new one. And none of that happened, and we got a really, really good victory. Played really well, deserved the 3 points, and it was entertaining. It was good to be there. It was enjoyable. Great 3 points, and now we have to follow it up against Burnley, and we can't just trip up. We've got to follow that up. We've got to see the same kind of fighting spirit that we saw in the game against Newcastle. Obsidian says, I was impressed with Wilson. I didn't want him, but he's changed my mind. I agree. I didn't want him. If I'm honest, I still don't particularly want him. I'd rather we had somebody else. He hasn't really changed my mind. I always said if he came, I'd support him. He's a West Ham player. I didn't want him because he took the piss out of the club on a number of occasions. I didn't want him because we should have got him years ago and he refused to come on a number of occasions. So in a childish way, that was part of the reason I didn't want him to come. I also didn't want him to come because I thought he was past his best and injury prone. And I still think he's past his best and injury prone. But it doesn't mean he hasn't got anything to offer for us. But like I say, I worry about the longevity of what we're going to get out of him. Do we get 5 or 6 games, or 3 or 4, or can he do it into January and perhaps get someone in? Colin says, Fulkrug wants to leave. Good. We should never have signed him in the first place. What a waste of money. I'm hoping we're going to get a good one in January. Well, I agree. We should have never signed him. We overpaid for him. Essentially, I don't think he's a bad footballer. But he falls firmly into the Wilson category of past his best, injury prone. And it seems he's either not suited to the Premier League or not suited to the way we use him in the Premier League. And Ian says, another striker in a long list of very bad buys, Colin. And we've got a huge history of failed strikers at West Ham. Even what would be perceived to be good Premier League strikers seem to have failed at West Ham. So back to the rumours of Fulkrug leaving or wanting to leave. Well, you never know with these rumours, do you, whether there's a bit of mischief making going on, or if there's any truth in the matter. To be honest with you, I couldn't give a monkey's either way. If he wants to go and we can attract a fee for him, I happily let him go. I happily take the fee and get ourselves a replacement in. If we can't get ourselves a replacement, as much as he's not much good to us because he can't stay fit for 5 minutes, if we've got no other alternative, I'd be inclined to make him stay. But if we can attract a fee, get a striker in on loan, buy one. But is there any money? We're already hearing we've got to sell before we buy. They've laid the ground for Paqueta to leave. Now the Fulkrug story is out there that Fulkrug wants to leave. I just take all of it with a pinch of salt, to be honest with you. But if there's truth in it, like I say, it doesn't really bother me. It can go for all I care. Anyway, guys, please do get involved in the live chat here because I've been away for the weekend. I haven't done any prep for this show. I was really hoping that I'd have some company in the studio to help me out with the conversation and subject matter. And Mick's really having internet problems tonight, so I really hate doing these solo shows. I find it a real struggle. Excuse me. So I think what I'm going to do, guys, unless you've got any subjects you want to cover in the live chat, please get your comments in. If not, I think I'm going to draw a line under this one, call it a bit of a fail. Thank you all for joining me and supporting us as you have. I am actually going away from Sunday, so I'm not going to be here next Tuesday as well. So I know it's a short break after a break, but we will return after the international break. Hopefully, I'll have a few guests on the panel. If any of you guys would ever like to join in on the panel any week, let me know in the chat or in the comments. You can email me at the boleynlounge@gmail.com. And I'll happily send you a link and you can come on, have your say, put your views across. Be lovely to get some other people's views. Just address Colin's comment here. He says, well, I thought with Hala Skamaka, they was not bad buys. We just did not know how to use them. If we'd scouted right, they play with partners. Yeah, and I have to say, they both at times looked like they were going to be good buys, I think. They look like they had potential. Haller, I just think, really lost interest with the way he was being used, and as did Skamaka. So I tend to agree with your comments there, Colin. I don't think they were essentially bad players. We just didn't use them very well. But if I'm honest, I think we misused Andy Carroll a little bit. I think we often used to just go, oh, well, we've got the big man up there. Let's just lump it up there, let him win it. And I'm not sure that was the best way to get the best out of Andy Carroll. I think we should have got down the sides and put crosses in for him to get on the end of. And I think we did too much of the long straight balls up to him and not enough of the get down the sides and cross balls into him. But there we go. That's all history now. Ian's asking that he's interested to know my view on the protests if they are kept up. Will we see a good result regarding the board this season? I don't know if we're going to see a good result regarding the board this season, Ian, because if you look at the plight of Newcastle fans, I mean, that was a long, drawn-out fight for them to get Ashley to sell the club and move on. And I don't think Sully likes all the bad press and attention, but I don't think he's as delicate as we might think, and I think he might dig his heels in. And you know, he's 800 million or whatever he wants for the club. It's never in a month of Sundays, is it? So if he's going to stick out for that, then I think we're going to be stuck with him for a while. But I do think if we get good turnout to the march next Saturday, I think that's a big statement. Like I say, perhaps I'm a little bit down on the protests at the moment because I felt a little bit disappointed with the sit-in. I felt it was a little bit ineffective. But I think the march is a big statement, and I think it will get well attended, and it'd be interesting to see, as people have mentioned, from 10,000 through to 25 plus thousand. If we get anywhere in that bracket, I think it'd be quite impressive, and we should get some coverage for it. And I think that's where the protests become more and more effective. When TalkSport and the likes of them, and the Telegraph and whoever else is printing stories about it, putting the focus on Sullivan, that's where we have the best chance of getting any success. The special one says, I think they need to stop. Though something makes me feel we need to stay on their neck until January. January is when I'm judging them. And he goes on to say, I need players added to this squad, not at the expense of any key players. Get me a centre forward. Well, you're absolutely right. We all want a centre forward, and we need players, plural. But we've already got the pleading poverty thing, so we'll see. But we've got room in the loan market, so a couple of good loans. They might help us through. Colin Jones is in. Good evening, Colin. And Special One's asking me, is it a new camera? No, it's not a new camera. It's slightly different camera angle in my room because I've got a slightly jittery Liverpool Real Madrid on in the background here. Because the Wi-Fi and the wired connection takes all of the bandwidth really. So, but I need that to stream here for you guys seamlessly, although my presentation skills are not seamless, obviously. Anyway, guys, unless you've got anything else, please get it in the chat. And if not, like I say, I'm going to say thanks to you all. Please like the stream. I don't really ask for that all the time. I should do it more often, but please give us a like on the stream. Share it to your socials, all of that stuff that all the other channels ask you to do. And Special One says, scouting Mbappe for a move in January. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, he wants to come on loan. Okay, guys, like I say, I do struggle with these solo shows, and I hadn't really done any prep, and I was really hoping this wouldn't happen this evening, but it has. So it's like a catastrophe for me. So I'm going to thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you back again. Hopefully, you'll all join us again after the international break. Thanks for joining us, guys. Good to see you all in the chat, and we'll see you soon. Good night, all. Come on, you Irons.